Hello everyone, welcome back to another figure review. Before we get into this awesome figure review of these two classic Sonic figures, I want to give a quick update on production in general. I know it's been 3 months since I've uploaded anything, sorry about that, but I promise I haven't just been sitting on my butt for the past 3 months. I have been working. I've been working on a Smash Bros parody. It's like a casting video. I'm really excited to finish that one up. But after that, I promise I'm going to get back to work on Sonic Mania Part 2. I know I changed the name of the first one. That wasn't a sign that it was the only one. We're going to get Part 2 out soon. And after that, I'm going to get back to work on TMNT. I know a lot of people want to see that. So, with all that out the way, let's get started into this awesome review of these two classic Sonic figures. Now, the one on the right is from the 4-inch wave from Jakks Pacific. They're both from Jakks Pacific. The one on the left is from Wave 3 of the 2.5-inch figures. So, right off the bat, the sculpt is really nice. This one definitely gives more Sonic Generations vibes, and only because of the sculpt, the head sculpt, it just fits more with Sonic Generations. This one does too, but because it's meant to be a pre-pose figure, it doesn't really give off that aesthetic that much. It definitely comes off a bit more cartoonish in the face. The paint, I do want to talk about as well. These figures always have really good paint. This one on the right has a very solid coat of paint. I don't see really any paint smudges, which is surprising. I know every once in a while you'll see like a little paint smudge. I really don't see that at all. These figures are very bright. I love that about these figures, that they're so bright and vibrant. Definitely gives out that cartoonish vibe. The one on the left, the 3.5-inch figure, also does not have any paint smudges, which I am a huge fan of. I hate when figures have paint smudges if they're really significant. Alright, next I do want to talk about articulation. Now, I'm going to go over the 4-inch figure first, just because it has more articulation. So this guy has a ball joint in the shoe, so it can go all the way around. It is a bit tight, which not too tight. It's tight enough to where it doesn't feel loose. In the knee, it also has a hinge joint. Be careful about that, because that definitely will get loose over time. Like, it's already a little flimsy in my opinion. In the waist, it does also have another hinge joint, a pivot joint actually, technically. So it can swivel and also go up and down. Nice joints right there. And then in the arms, we only have one joint in the shoulder, which is the hinge pivot joint. So it can go up and down, swivel, which is really nice. I do wish this figure had elbow joints. I know a lot of people wish they had that, but it's all good, especially with the bend. It definitely looks okay. It's not that bad. And then the wrist, it has that ball joint just like in the shoe, which is really nice. And then in the head, it has another ball joint. Now, this actually does fall into the sculpt category as well. His head is a bit tilted, which doesn't really look... It looks a little weird. I mean, if you turn it a little bit, and then his head is also pointed down for some reason. If you turn his head a little bit and then up, it'll look normal, but it takes a bit of work. I wish that it was a bit more centered. That would have been a bit better. But overall, this articulation is pretty good. I also don't want you to forget that the knee joints do get a little flimsy, like it's even hard for me to kind of stand them up, but it's all good. Also, before I move on to the next figure, he also has that little red streak in the mouth. It doesn't look weird. It actually looks pretty good. It looks like his mouth is just a little bit open. I do like that. Came out pretty good. Now, let's go over the 3.5-inch figure. Now, this figure is a pre-pose figure. I know people hate that, but he's not pre-pose. I mean, he does have articulation. He has a hinge pivot joint at the shoulder at both arms. So, this one is what moves the most, actually. He has the same in the left arm, but it's a bit harder to move just because of the sculpt. But it's okay. He also has a hinge pivot joint at the waist, so we go up and down and swivel. Not bad right there. He does not have articulation in the ankles or in the wrist, sadly. And the last joint he does have is in the head. It's a swivel joint, not even a ball joint. Wait, is it a ball joint? I don't think it is. Yeah, it's not. It's just a swivel joint. Now, I know a lot of people have been complaining about this figure. A lot with the face, actually. I think his face definitely looks good for what it is, with the expression it's trying to give. That mouth, the way it's painted and the way it's sculpted, definitely came out good. His eyes are just so cartoony and big. I love the way this face looks. It's so cute. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong, the spikes on the sides, they do kind of look a little weird. They don't look weird, they just look a little off. I don't hate it though. It doesn't look terrible. I just noticed something. It does have a seam line in the back spikes, which I did not notice, but it is pretty noticeable. I don't really think it's that much of a big deal. I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, they both have it if you look closely. Also, the other thing that people didn't like was the pose. Like how he has like his hand on his hip and how he has like waving, I guess. Now, although I do agree, I did notice that you could get him in some pretty cool poses. For example, you can get him into a drifting running pose, kind of like in Sonic Unleashed, by moving his hand down and then moving his legs like that and doing like that. He looks like he's drifting like in Sonic Colors or Sonic Unleashed. You could get him into like he's jumping or like waving or whatever, like that. That, in my opinion, looks kind of cool. I like that one a lot. Or probably one of the best poses, if not for the drifting, is the hand him over pose. I like this pose a lot. I don't see this one very often, but it looks like he's like saying, "Give me the money, give me the money." I like that. I like that one a lot. Now, obviously, you can get this figure into really any pose you want because he's a fully posed figure. Overall, I think these figures are really good by themselves. If you're looking for a figure to scale with the other 4-inch figures, I would definitely go with the one on the left, just because it is more to scale. But if you're looking for one that poses really well and just looks really good, I would definitely go with the right one. If you're looking to animate, I would actually get both of them if you were to animate with these guys, because if you want to get to proportion, then you would get with the left one. But then you could also do a bit of masking, do the right one. They both look pretty good. Next, I do want to bring ahead some other figures, just so you can see the scale or just how they look in comparison. So I brought ahead the Tomy, very small classic Sonic figure, which is adored by fans. Now, I know he's customized, but it does not hinder his size at all. He looks the exact same size. He's always been very small. As you can see, they're both taller than him, which is definitely good because he is definitely not to scale with the modern Sonic figure. He is way too small. Next, I want to bring ahead the modern Sonic figure. He is definitely to scale with the 2.5-inch classic Sonic. Definitely not to the 4-inch figure, although 4-inch figure definitely just looks really good. Next figure I want to bring ahead is Tails. Modern Tails, obviously. There is no classic Tails. Yet. But again, they're obvious. The 2.5-inch figure is obviously to scale. This one is definitely a bit bigger. This one is a bit smaller, just so you can see how they all look. Alright, so now that we went over these figures for a very long time, the last thing I want to do is just point out some things I noticed, or just little things I don't like. I noticed that the flesh tone on both these figures are different, actually. Like, I noticed the one on the right is a bit darker than the one on the left, which I was not expecting, actually. That was weird. Something that I thought was really cool that I actually didn't even notice until I was watching Foxmation's review of the 2.5-inch figure a couple months ago. They have darker plastic on the inside of their shoes, which is awesome, because, yeah, that is definitely how they are in the games and the comics and stuff. That was just a really cool, small little detail I was not expecting. That's pretty awesome to see. Some other things I guess I don't like are the knee joints. They do get a little flimsy. I will not sit here and tell you that they don't. They will get flimsy. It will get hard to get them to even stand up sometimes, but not too badly. I promise. They do firm up after like a couple seconds. They are pretty good. They're not terrible. They're just a little flimsy. They're not cheap, just flimsy. The other thing I do want to recognize is the spine pattern. I love the spine pattern on this dude because if you look at all angles, he looks like he only has 3 spikes, just like in the games. I love that. That just looks really cool. Overall, I do love these two figures. I will definitely be using them to animate with. Like I said earlier, I indeed will continue to work on animations. My channel is not dead, I promise. Alright, I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.